We're just going to fly right into it today and skip that whole intro bit. Let's just get into it. What is going on with the goddamn price today? Up and down, shaking it all around. If you, I guess you wouldn't have seen the photo that I made yesterday. A little roller coaster action. Bitcoin's just playing with people out here. Preemptive pump. We talked about the preemptive pump coming into the ETF. We've had a little preemptive pump. People probably over leveraging some longs and jumping in and getting a little taken advantage of here by people who understand what is going on with the charts, with the news, with the narrative, and all that kind of jazz. Hopefully everything is running okay. I think it is. So we're going to get into it. It's January 4th, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On January 4th, did I just say that? Probably just said that, yeah. I would think I said something like that. So what's going on here? Recovery. And now, if you were in the stream yesterday, thank you very much. We had zoomed out a little and put this channel. I think it's actually on the whole year. So let's zoom out to the weekly for a sec. Oh, too much. Why did it do that? Sheesh. The weekly. So we put this channel out for the year here. Last confirmation of resistance and before the breakdown, our double bottom, and then the first resistance, and then we had this little bull trap here, obviously, and then we're getting the same kind of deal here, but just fighting over top of that line now. So I just wanted to show the channel and where this resistance came from. This is kind of just the trend from the 2023 that we're still in. And our trend is our friend until the end, or so they say. Good chance we make another contact over here, and that really lines up with my prediction of the 78.6 and back down to the 50. Back down to the 50 as we wave into the era of change. And I think I'm going to do these pretty quick because we haven't really built a foundation for these live streams yet, but I just want to get the content out, and it's much easier this way to do it live than it is to edit. So thing to think of here, I mean, coming into the ETF, they're supposed to have the news by the 10th is the deadline, and this is the 4th. Thursday's Saturday, Monday, so mid next week. I don't know, it's kind of, I wouldn't doubt if they, again, start the week with a pump. And then, I don't want to say that it's going to get denied, but it's not going to surprise me if the ETF gets denied on the 10th and it gets pushed back, right? I don't know that Grayscale is ready for the ETF, or why they would even get one with the other things they have going on outside of the picture. So Bitcoin at 43.9 now. So if we go back to the 4-hour chart and see what's going on here. So we got back above that line. So the channel for 2023, our uptrend there, that was, we're trying to break out of that channel, right? And this is so now above that on the 4-hour chart and trying to confirm with this 4-hour candle whether or not we are going to stay above this line of resistance and get that leg up to the 78.6% fib of the 2022 bear trend, which would be around $50,000 approximately. We've been talking about that for a while. Been talking about that since November, I think. But I mean, we've been chasing the S&P 500 for we've been printing very similar patterns for the last couple of years, and that's where I've been basing a lot of my decisions and a lot of my entry points, based on waiting for Bitcoin to basically print the same pattern as the S&P 500, and it has been. So big bounce over there for them. Again, they hit it. They got back to their all-time high, pretty much just under their all-time high before the year. So didn't exceed it, but they're getting a big juicy green candle this morning here, and they got some CMC gaps. So I wouldn't doubt if this gets filled back up. But again, I really feel like some of these markets need to reset some more. I mean, as far as the lower time frame goes on the S&P, I suppose they could go up, but you can see on the daily chart for the S&P, they rolled over into almost, well, that was 82% on the RSI. So that's a nice, good, healthy little bull run, and a good chance this thing sees some more correction before going back up again. And here on the weekly, same thing. Didn't quite break there, and this is now, this is on the weekly chart with a massive bearish divergence, actually. So this was the previous high with a high in the RSI above 70%, following high with the RSI lower than 70%, but it's higher in the candle. So that's a bearish divergence. Whoo, sheesh. And you know, it's funny, if that actually goes straight down to March, April, it lines up perfectly with all the halving and everything else to get us into the bull run that we want to see. And I've been talking about them throwing one more rate hike in. And I thought it would have happened in 2023, but it didn't. But no one can say that it's not going to happen still. They didn't get inflation right where they wanted to. Sure, we did a good job with deflation over the last couple of years and brought some things down, but I don't think they got it to where they want. So a catalyst event, maybe it's a, you know, we've already seen some war and some devastating things happening. So, you know, maybe it's just that rate hike is the next event that sends things back for the correction they need before moving north for the halving in Bitcoin. Right. And that looks really messy when you got it on there. But if we get zoomed in on the weekly, what did I? Oh, hopefully I didn't just move anything. Zoomed in on our weekly here. In this range we've been fighting, it's still the same. We've been here for weeks, so I mean, you can't say that it was a crash. Like yesterday, this is what people call a crash. We've been trading this same range for 4 or 5 weeks now, and people yesterday called this a crash. And it's, jeez, man, it's not a crash. This looks exactly like what the S&P 500 did before it climbed all the way to the 78.6% fib of the 2022 bear trend. And if we bring that fib line back out, we've been following these lines perfect. I've been hitting these calls bang on. I hate bragging, but that's the whole fucking point of this. And social media is for us to spread the message, and we gotta put out receipts, and our receipts are in our upload history. We've been pretty bang on with our TA for the last couple of years. And we want to just keep buying and keep accumulating, because now the hype is huge. Like the hype is huge. So I guess that's my clickbait and my thumbnail. Bitcoin is hype. It really is. Now everybody's talking about it. We're seeing it in the media, and you're seeing all these big players on Twitter Spaces with money and legacy finance system that are all transferring wealth into Bitcoin. We are going to see the biggest wealth transfer in history, and that's why Bitcoin's so hyped, because everybody wants in and nobody wants to miss their chance at owning a solid Bitcoin. You know, like owning one full Bitcoin is going to be rare. So now you got all these bigger players removing money from real estate, removing money from legacy finance, and coming to Bitcoin, right? They're starting to wise up to the fact that Bitcoin is the life raft in this flood of inflation, right? So fucking grab on, let's go. Yeah, anyway, I want to pull this fib back out to show you. And we are so far printing the almost identical patterns to the S&P 500. It did the same thing here before it climbed up to the 78.6% fib. And then, but it had, right after that, it had a correction all the way back to the 50% fib. Okay. So this is where we are right now. And I've been following this thing all year. So it's like, people can fucking tell me it's wrong and it doesn't work, but it's like, this pattern is exactly the same as Bitcoin. If you look at it, it's not any different. So we're right here, right now. We're seeing exactly this pattern here right now, right? Good chance is what I'm saying. A good chance we see the 78.6% fib. And then this massive correction. And this is what's going to lead to the halving, right? Because if we think about it now, even on this S&P 500, this thing is topped out again. And the weekly chart has now printed a massive bearish divergence. Massive bearish divergence. So I don't think that people should be as excited as they are about this. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't even say it. Because of all these rich motherfuckers who've been getting rich, 100 millionaire rich off of real estate forever is my fucking exit liquidity for the next month or so, then fuck them. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's rude. Maybe that's rude, but I don't know. I could be wrong. We could just blow the charts. TA could go out the window right now. Fundamentals could outweigh TA if there's nothing bad that happens in the news. If there's no another rate hike or something like that, then maybe we break through the ceiling. We get in the old Willy Wonka elevator and just fucking start traveling around. Anything goes. Liberty and trust. What's good? Beat coin. Yeah, fucking beat the coin. We're gonna beat the coin. BTC is boss. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. And I want people to have fun and make money and do all that. But like, I want to push this Bitcoin is hype message. It's not too expensive for you. And I see a lot of these influencers now on the Great Glass Elevator. Fuck yeah, let's smash that shit. But all these influencers, if you want to call them that. But if your community is your exit liquidity, what the fuck kind of influence are you to the world? Are you serious? It's wild out there, man. It's wild out there. It's wild. And everything other than Bitcoin is a wash. Good chance you're going to get rinsed, especially if you don't understand Bitcoin first and get some savings in Bitcoin. If you don't have savings in Bitcoin, if you don't have 0.01 Bitcoin, you shouldn't be buying anything else. You shouldn't be buying anything else. And that's the fucking hard truth. And yes, you could make more money somewhere else. Good chance you could make more money somewhere else, especially over the next few years. Everything's going to go up. But this is about us curbing greed in the financial system. So it's wild to me that there's 2 million plus cryptos now. 2 million plus cryptos. And this is all people just trying to fucking wash you. They're starting a thing now called faith-based economies. Jesus token and Buddha token. These people are literally using fucking deities' fucking images to push their own bags, pump their own bags. It's wild. And guess what? Bitcoin does this for everybody. And if we allow the powers that be and the elites to scoop up all the Bitcoin because we think it's too expensive, they retain control. You idiots. Wake the fuck up and buy the Bitcoin and stop telling your fucking friends to buy all the shit coins. This is crazy, man. I mean, degen and gamble, but it is just that. It's a casino out there, and I'm surprised how many big influencers aren't just pushing the message of unity, which is Bitcoin. Whew. Good thing this. I love to see this. So all them big players, everybody got all hype on Twitter Spaces, and a whole bunch of money poured in. People say, "What was with that pump? What was with that pump? What's with that crash?" It's like that wasn't a crash. We're literally still in the same range for the last fucking 5 weeks. That wasn't a crash. That pump shouldn't have happened yet, right? Retail just all of a sudden got excited. Jim Cramer talks about it. A couple of the media talks about it. Everybody thinks the ETF's going to get approved because they haven't been paying attention in the last 10 years when they haven't got approved, right? They're not paying attention to the fact that amendments are going in days before the application is supposed to be deadline for approval, right? All these things matter and nobody pays attention. They just buy the fucking news because their neighbor and whoever else is all hype. Right? But that's what happens if we tell you that. Everyone just comes in and buys Bitcoin when it's hype, and then they jump out. They jump out because they don't want to be losing money. But we push DCA because even if you come in and buy at the top and you continue to DCA, you're going to be up in probably a year or less. Probably less, depending how vigilant you are with your DCA, especially if you do it daily. If you do it daily, whew, telling you. And then once you start doing that and you start to look at the charts a bit, you'll see the dips. You'll buy the dips heavier, and you continue to DCA the rest of the time too. It's not stressful. It's not complicated. But you need to be accumulating Bitcoin. And these fucking people in the space, man, and I doubt they're ever going to watch my content, but holy fuck, you guys need to be pushing the message of Bitcoin too and stop leading fucking all these people to the slaughterhouse. Damn. Imagine using your own community as exit liquidity. Whew. Crazy. It's true. People want a fast buck with poo coins, fill their own bags. Yeah, so, I'm a bit of a degen, and over the holidays, I definitely degened. But if you learn what these suckers are doing, you can get in there. On launch, these fuckers, and it's funny, because you can listen to their spaces. These people have liquidity on the back end to pump the bags at launch. So they launch the bag, they let it do its little thing with the pre-sale. Everybody at the pre-sale jumps out and jeets out with their 2x or 3x or whatever they get. And then they have a stack of liquidity just on the side. So after that levels back out, they'll get back in the spaces, they get back on Twitter, they fucking hype it, they trend it, and then they'll pump $5 million into their coin and then dump it on everybody's head again. Be like, oh, the volume's up, look, we're trending, yada, yada, yada. And then you're down bad again. And it's like there's 2 million of these cryptos fucking doing it all again. So if you're going to degen into a shit coin, I fucking promise you, if you're holding it for longer than 3 hours, sometimes even less than that, it's going to hit the floor again. I had one, I jumped out of half of it, but I jumped into a fucking shit coin the other day and I was like, oh, maybe it's going to keep running. But I had a 7x in like 45 minutes and I only sold 50%. And now that, I mean, my still holding the back. So, I mean, maybe it comes around again in the bull run. But I'm still pissed off about not taking all my profits, you rug-pulling bastards. You fucking raguinos. Fucking bastards. Degen is all okay. Just know the risk. BTC is gold. Yes, sir. Absolutely. BTC is king. And I feel like that people should still be pushing that. It's like even if you want to put out a little NFT project or whatever, and, you know, show some art and hopefully you can dump on some people's heads. But it's like, man, we should be trying to dump on the man's head, Legacy Finance's head, right? So for myself, for example, I knew that people were going to get shit on this week and probably going to get shit on again. But I wouldn't doubt if it comes with a little more teasing, right? I don't think we've seen enough media hype to get their exit liquidity exactly where they want it to be. So let some more of these rich suckers come in, right? Because anybody who's been paying attention to DCA and for a while is not going to get hurt. We're going to continue to hold and whatever. I hope it fucking drops down to the 50% FIP. 32.7? Whoo! That sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Right? You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just fucking blows right through the 78 and goes to 69K, but doesn't matter that way either. Doesn't matter that way either. But all I'm saying, do as they do, not as they say. They're never going to fucking tell you the truth first. Truth's in the charts. And for some reason, people think you can't do TA. Like, that's another thing I noticed in the crypto Twitter, which is where most of the conversation is being had. I was really surprised to see how many thousands of people are actually in conversations all day, every day about this stuff. And no one is actually really paying. I mean, there's a few really intelligent people, but for the most case, it's not. It's people just gambling in there. And I'm surprised how little conversation there is about Bitcoin and how boring people think Bitcoin is and how they don't want to. That just baffles my mind because it's the whole reason we're here. Bitcoin's the reason we're here. Bitcoin is the reason we're all in this conversation. Bitcoin is the reason that the people have a chance at value in life. So I don't understand why it's not the main topic of the conversation, even in all the other spaces. Okay. If we made 160% on Bitcoin this year, let's show some profits into another project, see if we can all come up together, right? And build some stability in those communities too, so they don't get fucking dumped on newcomers. And you could do that by just supporting Bitcoin more. Your projects would be stronger if you showed more support to Bitcoin. That's the reality. If we all build in Bitcoin together, the whole world does good. So imagine you create something innovative that benefits the whole fucking human race, and you decided to build that all on Bitcoin. Look at what MicroStrategies is doing. Michael Saylor is the prime example of that. His fucking company's up 340% this year. Owning MicroStrategies is basically like owning an ETF to Bitcoin because he owns more than anybody else. The fucking guy's he's brilliant, and nobody's fucking paying attention, man. And we're all fucking yelling and screaming and crying in the street. Like, I'm seeing all these people, like somebody reached out to me too. Oh, how come you don't use your how I saw you share something about Bitcoin. Why don't you use your platform for good? What do you mean? What do you fucking mean use my platform for good? You want me to just fucking cry about the problem like everybody else? Are you fucking kidding me? How does talking about the problem solve the problem? Right? You guys are all just fucking complaining. I feel like now when I'm on, the difference between X and Instagram and Facebook is that fucking people on Facebook and fucking Instagram are behind in the conversation. And you are fucking crying about the problems. And if you're talking about the problems, if you think that using your platform to fucking talk about the problem, is somehow benefiting the world, you are just as fucking washed as the people you're complaining about. The fucking answer is finance. It always has been finance, import, export. And the more money that we take out of USD system and trade globally, the better we all do. And that's Bitcoin. It solves all the problems that you're fucking crying about on your platform. Sheesh. Principles of BTC and DCA. Yeah, absolutely. Crypto George, he's a great influencer in the space, really humble guy. I like George. Actually, we're all George. Yeah, I want a guy like George. We're all George, right? Because we all do well. And that's a guy who's been around long enough, and he's got enough Bitcoin that he can make educated decisions to go and gamble elsewhere. And I'm not going to say that there isn't projects that aren't doing good things. There are. There are many projects doing many good things. But they're a gamble. Bitcoin's the most liquid asset on the planet. It's the most secure thing. It's the most secure value on the planet. Period. The proof is here. So I'm fucking so tired of people saying it's like, man, the cognitive dissonance around it is just getting, it's getting to me. It's getting to me. So do I start using my platform more? I've never really personally seen the value in trying to boost my own fucking ego in this narcissistic fucking social media world. But Bitcoin makes me feel like I should. And it's not for me. It's not for Jay Biggs to fucking become famous and say I told you so. It's because I firmly believe this will better life for the generations ahead of us. Firmly believe that, and that's why I do this. That's why I do this. I don't give a fuck about me, and I probably don't give a fuck about you, but I give a fuck about humanity as a whole. And I really feel that Bitcoin is the change that we've all been waiting for. So quit crying about the problem. Quit crying about who thinks what. We have to disagree with each other, right? Get comfortable with somebody having a different fucking opinion with you than you. Who gives a shit? You know? Ethereum. Ranting. I'm just ranting. Uh-oh. Siri wants to get in on my rant here. Beat it, Siri. Yeah, what's going on in the world today? Should I get on excellent quote on Telegram today? Share it on here. Oh, that was actually excellent quote on Telegram today. Yeah, I've been trying to drop more quotes, and I have been writing my own quotes lately, but the one that I put in the chat that Liberty and Trust is referring to here is, it's better to be optimistic and wrong than it is to be pessimistic and right. So would you rather live optimistically, or would you rather live pessimistically? Would you rather be upset all the time thinking that the world's going to end and fucking go and use all your money and resources to build a bunker and think that some apocalypse is coming and it's all, you know what I mean? You want to live like that and just like have a bit of fear and an edge on all the time and then be right? And then what? Then you live in your fucking bunker? What? You think they're not going to come and find you in your bunker? If that's the case, come on, right? Or you could be optimistic. You could believe in something like Bitcoin bettering humanity, the world, all of us. You could believe that someone like Elon is really trying to fucking better the human life experience, right? And then be wrong in the end. Then the apocalypse happens. But at least you lived your life thinking that we could fucking have a chance as a human race, right? Like, fuck all that shit. Jesus, people. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. You know, in the 1800s, over 80% of people were fucking hungry and in poverty. In the 1970s and into, I think, the beginning of the 80s, that number was still 40%. That number is now under 10%. And everybody is fucking screaming and crying about the fucking mass media negativity. It's a fucking wash, people. You're getting rinsed. You're getting rinsed. And they just repeat that cycle on you. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Yeah, be sure. Be prepared. But if the apocalypse comes, I don't care how ready you are. You're not ready enough. You're not ready enough. Okay? You're not ready enough. Unless you have a fucking army of people, which I guarantee you don't, you are not ready enough. Okay? I don't care if you have fucking 15 machine guns and a few boxes. You're not ready enough if shit goes that bad. So why wouldn't you just rather be optimistic? We all get together. Bitcoin is the ultimate protest against failing policies. What do they do to protesters? They take their fucking money. They seize their bank accounts and send them home. So how do we stop the elites with protest? We take their money. How do we do that? We put it into Bitcoin. What's the most liquid asset on the planet? Bitcoin. Right? It's a no fucking brainer. Who gives a shit if it goes up, goes down? It doesn't matter if you DCA, if you're always buying, it doesn't matter. Right? Fucking the seas of change shall be rough. The seas of change shall be rough. So just, you stay vigilant. You stay vigilant. You don't worry about the noise. You don't worry about the news. You don't worry. Like, the mass news will always be negative. It'll always be negative. They know now that that social engineering is too easy. And now even all the people who think they're critical thinkers and they're fucking out there using their platforms to fucking talk about the problem, perpetuating the problem instead of talking about the solution, which is taking money out of the legacy finance system, taking ownership and custodianship of your own value is the only thing that matters. And that's what will bring real change. But as far as the other bullshit goes, we have less people in poverty. We have less people hungry now than ever before. We have more people in housing than you think, or even though we have a housing issue, right? It's all BS. It's all BS. It's all BS. And I'm the crazy one, though. I'm crazy. I'm insensitive and all that because I want everyone to do well. And I really believe that this is the answer, is riding this wave. Ding, ding. What happened to my, there we go. Bigger chart. Let's get rid of that fib. Here's the 10-year. This thing's 15 years old now. I forgot. We just had a birthday for Bitcoin. So like we zoom out, like even those longer lines I'm working on are nothing in the grand scheme of what's really going on. Let's change that even to normal chart for a second. Sheesh. What's going on here? See, you can't even see it on the regular chart. Why can't we see you? There we go. Look at that. It looks like a shit coin when you look at like... That's hilarious. But look. Where bear. So even if we get out on the flat chart, which it looks funny to me like that, but I just want to have a look. Just want to have a look-see. Look at that sucker. Bitcoin is a teenager, age 15. Yeah, 15. It's 15. Bitcoin's older than my oldest kid. That's crazy. Yeah, Bitcoin's only going to grow. But if we look at it on the just the regular chart, it's crazy. So dead flat, shoot, spike. This is crazy. It looks like a shitcoin when you look at it like this. That's funny. And look, yeah, and that makes sense. That next resistance, 48K there. And possibly even this one. Let's see what the fib looks like if we put it on the regular chart. From the Z tap to tippy tap to the bottom. Sheesh, when you put it on that way, we're not even at the 61.8. that makes sense. That'll put us at the top of that red line of resistance from the annual trend. I mean, it changes when we switch from the logarithmic chart, but get the idea. Whoa. Back to the logarithmic, because that's how we should be observing these charts. Yeah. So, I mean, still healthy. Just changes which fib line. I prefer to look at the logarithmic, so instead of the 61.8, it would be the 78.6 at $50,217. I don't think that's on the right bottom, though. There we go. Approximately 50,000. Yeah. So, I mean, not much else to say. I mean, coming into this ETF, again, I'm not super sold that it just keeps going. I mean, people say you can't use these charts on Bitcoin and they don't work. But I mean, the fucking weekly RSI works pretty well, if you ask me. Sure, if you want to look at the daily and the things like that, the lower time frames, they don't work as well because it's not designed for something so volatile. But I mean, all we have to judge the future of Bitcoin is its past performance. So it's like people think that TA and shit doesn't work, but it's like it's all we have. So why wouldn't we utilize that as a tool to try to make educated decisions and strategy setups for our future moves, right? I just get that a lot of the consensus of long-term crypto holders think that TA doesn't work in Bitcoin, but it absolutely does. I don't do a lot of TA. Don't get me wrong. I don't like EMAs. I don't like EMAs very much. I don't use personally anything except for a Fibonacci tool. It's not really an indicator. It's a tool, as well as the RSI. The RSI, as far as I'm concerned, for Bitcoin is really the only indicator that I think gives a true tell. I think a lot of the other things just kind of overcomplicate your script and what you're looking at and make it more difficult to make decisions, because with Bitcoin anything can change. It can change at any minute, and anything in the news could change it at any minute. And yeah. But that pump, I think it was just people got so hyped. Like, I mean, hearing Gary Cardone and all those guys in their conversations, and we're talking guys with hundreds of millions of dollars, right? We're all having conversations over the holidays in Twitter Spaces, and we saw that pump to try and break this resistance and this range we've been in for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And it's funny because, oh my God, big crash. Like, I think crash clickbait is one of the most annoying clickbaits. And like, I'm trying to get comfortable with the clickbait thing in the social media. I know my opinion doesn't matter of how silly I think most of the stuff is, but I think pushing the Bitcoin message is important, and that's why I'm here. Yeah. That's why we're here. But again, this is kind of a bearish divergence on our weekly chart too, if we can't get a pump here to finish the week off. But still in the same range. And people say this is a crash. Like, we pumped to 46K almost, and then crash back down to 42K. We've been in the same range for weeks. This is a weekly chart. This is the same range. This is where exactly where I told you guys it would be likely until the ETF news came out, whether they were going to push it one way or another. Right now, they've agreed that this is a comfortable price range and that we want to wait for the news. Okay, retail can't move this thing the way that we want it to. Definitely not yet. There hasn't been enough commercials. You haven't seen enough crypto.com. You haven't seen any fucking celebrities pushing anything yet. Like that will happen. That's the sign of the top, which I don't think will happen for a couple of years. But yeah, I'm looking at this resistance now, and this red line of resistance. So I want to close the week above this long trending line of resistance that we have here. I would like a close above. And actually, if you moved that down, I mean, that's the thing, trying to use trend lines and shit, but like, you can't, I mean, because I could put this like this and say that it's already broken out, right? Yeah. It doesn't, yeah. But the range, to me, is more important. And we've stayed in that range between 44 and 40K. We know there's not a lot of liquidity underneath 40K, and if we break that $39,500 range, we're heading south. I think we'll be going down to the 50% fib around 33K. Large spike up, then large spike down. Yeah, I think so too, because I really think the markets need to chill out a bit, and we can see that even the S&P 500 is having another massive bearish divergence. It did not exceed its all-time high. It's been rejected from its all-time high, so good chance it comes right back down here to test this support. At least test this support, if not keep coming down into March, April. It could even be longer, actually. It could be longer. I'd like to say April, May, because that's when the halving is, but just because the halving happens doesn't mean that the price of Bitcoin is going to go directly to the moon either. So that's something to be aware of. But based on this is where we are right now on the Bitcoin chart in correlation to the S&P. So I believe we see this pump come, and a preemptive pump for the ETF makes sense to me to do this, and then watch them profit take for the next couple of months and trickle this thing back down to the 50% fib, which would be 33K. Get people scared out again, right? They don't want you getting rich too fast. They want to make it boring again before they blast it off like this, right? Trickle, 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 wham. And then they push it right back when you can't get in. Wow. Well, didn't mean to yell. But you can get in. But you can see, look, it looks pretty much exactly the same, right? We're right here. Push up. Push down. I need my brush out. I know you guys like the brush. Right? This is exactly what the S&P 500 did. And we've been printing the same patterns. We've been printing the same patterns. Let's go over there. Look. Same patterns. Doobity doobity. W's. Shboobity doobities. Dippity dips. Back to the moon. So I believe that could happen, because that's what we've been doing. Oops. That's what we've been doing. Yeah. Low. Yeah, but we DCA'd. I mean, there's a couple of leverage trades I wish I would have hit, but that's all right. Can't have them all. But I do want to start. I want to think about that low leverage long, and maybe I'll stack it in soon. But I mean, I really feel like we need that correction. And maybe I'm wrong. I am okay to be corrected and grow, move forward. Anyways, I think that done about wraps it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Jules. This is your Future Hand. We will catch you in the next one. Go fuck yourself. Goodbye.
Figs and Bogs.